Hit the button. Hit the lights.
Hit the lights, the lights. Hello and fuck cape shit. This is a new episode, another new episode of
We're
Shittywebcomics
premiering.
Weekly.
We're premiering a new thing.
We're
A
premiering a
new,
brand new thing where we have a new intro to Shitty Webcomics Weekly.
a
I think,
new opening catchphrase.
yeah, we're trying to discover the best new forced catchphrase humanly possible because everyone else has got their stupid forced catchphrases. We need to have our own, and I think
Their
"fuck
inferior
cape shit"
catchphrase.
is a good one. We were thinking like "fuck comics," "fuck cape shit," "save
But
comics"
it's
from
not
people who
about
want to
fuck
save
comics.
comics.
See, it's not that I hate comics. It's I hate the people making comics right now who have taken over the
But here's the
fucking
thing: the
industry.
people who are making comics, and then the people who think they're going to save comics from the people making comics. Both of them are very moored, so to speak.
It's the fucking why are you fucking attacking your own side, noob?
Dumb fucking noob. Speaking of which, though,
No,
last
what was
week,
it? It was like the fucking. Uh, that's all I can think of. It actually is the fucking don't attack your own side, noob, with the banhammer.
oh yeah, that's right. The classic, some old classic old fucking meme and obscure reference to another comic, actually. But
A better comic than this
yeah, that
shit.
shit. Irregardless of that, last week we covered some Strawman comics. We covered like some Stone Toss, and then we remembered like a big string of Strawman comics that were about Strawman comics and sort of
Classic
parodying the
MS Paint.
idea of Strawman comics. Um, so I went through my whole folder of the my opposing viewpoint folder where I saved copies of all of the Strawman comics that I had saved from 4chan and mostly from V, which is why most of these are about video games. So I wanted to go through a bunch of them for an entire episode because it'll make for a classic,
It's
another
actually,
classic
yeah, to me, it's
episode.
also a good example of how comics have actually just they're as strong as they have ever been, if not better. It's just that they don't belong to the big two
Yeah,
anymore.
the best comics that I've seen in the past 20 years are stuff like this, like MS Paint stick figure comics that are just drawn for a fucking image board. By far superior to pretty much anything I've seen by the entire print industry, Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or Image, for the past 40 years. Because I've read, I mean, we're basically like Frank Miller in every single way. That he's a peer of ours essentially, but especially the contempt he had for mainstream comic books, including the companies that he worked for at the time in the 80s. He had that quote an introduction of Lone Wolf and Cub, where he was like, "Are you tired of all the fucking typical Marvel and DC shit?" And this was while he was working for Marvel and DC. I think he had just put out Daredevil
Right.
Born Again, but you can tell he's doing that with sort of contempt for a
I
lot of the
mean, really,
comics
you
made
stop
by
and
those
think about it.
companies.
Daredevil, the character of Daredevil, the universe of Daredevil. We
Mm-hmm.
actually brought this up in the other video. It's like, what other fucking Daredevil stories are you even aware of that are any good? Okay, there's fucking yeah, Daredevil by Frank Miller,
Yeah, Born
and then
Again.
nothing. Nobody cares about his character,
Well, here's the thing. Frank
and
Miller
he had
did
that
care
shitty
about the
Ben Affleck
character, but he
movie.
clearly wanted to actually do something unique and original and relevant with the character
Well,
in a
he
way
was the
that
only
nobody
one.
else really was doing.
Nobody. Well, of course they weren't.
It's
Nobody. Who cares?
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Who
Fuck.
fucking gives a shit? Nobody.
How did he die again?
Well,
Let me
as a
tell you
matter
this.
of fact,
Let me
he
spin
got
you a narrative, Naruto narrative. But
Naruto.
anyways, um, so we wanted to go into more of these comics, and some of them are like more like image macros and things. But the thing is, I count all of those as a form of comic,
It's
and that's
certainly
a point
a
we've
form of
made for
comic,
many, many years before this.
and it they're way more creative and
Yeah.
interesting than any of the fucking shit that's been made by Marvel or DC in the past 20, if not 30 years.
If not 40, if not 70 years. But a lot of people don't consider, first of all, a lot of people don't even consider this right here a comic. But other people
You're
don't even
wrong.
consider like memes or macros comics, even though they really are, because they're an image, they're text, and they either tell a story or get a point across. And this one obviously is a comic. It's just that the fanboys of comics, fans of comics, are
And
very
rules.
low IQ and very myopic. They have a tiny vision as far as the
Hey,
world of
we have
existence in
vision.
art.
We have vision. The rest of the world does not.
They do something else that is not very cool. It
They
makes them
lack
a loser. What is that thing? It's called wearing bifocals. The gayest thing anyone could ever do.
the gayest thing in all outdoors.
Yes.
The gayest thing since the great outdoors,
The,
even.
the gayest thing since sliced bread. Anyways, the
Sliced
first
bread.
comic is one I think we didn't actually cover last time, but we'll open with this. Is just some guy sitting there angry, going, Halo is so gay," and then someone says, "No, nice normal person says, I'm looking forward to Halo 3. Me and my friends are going to play in a LAN match," and some guy or the angry guy gets up and is screaming, and "You fucking fucking fanboy Halo fag, enjoy shooting gameplay," and "Why are you talking about why am I a fanboy? Did I insult you? You like Halo, it means you hate superior genres like JRPGs. Why don't you buy new Alice?" This is a heavily edited version of the fucking original thing. In fact,
Yeah, it's like edited upon edited.
yeah, there's a bunch of fucking like word replacements. I think the original one was making fun of Halo fans. Like the angry guy was a Halo fan who's like, "Ooh, Halo's so awesome," or something like that.
There's no telling. Honestly, at this point, it's
Yeah,
like I don't know
it's almost impossible to
where's it.
tell.
This is where the templates come from, though. Is just
Yeah, that's how it
this is what
becomes a meme,
happened.
is that somebody takes the original, they edit it, and then it gets posted again. Somebody takes that, edits it, and gets posted again. And that's really what a meme actually is. Not the original comic so much, but the idea of it, and the ideas in it, and the format of it, and that kind of stuff. That's
The
actually what a meme
framework,
is.
the template that it all fucking starts from.
Anyways, the
He
guy
usually
says,
he usually does start from like a legitimately funny or interesting comic, or sometimes just something that's so incoherent and ridiculous, like the Navy SEAL copy pasta,
the guy
or
goes,
fucking most of the creepy pasta.
JRPGs don't appeal to me. I don't need another grindfest filled with lollies and bishies. And then the fucking guy's like stunned as the word bishies is floating around his head. I remember there was another edit of
Oh yeah,
this
no
where
wait, no wait, yeah, this is the fucking
the
fuck.
pro
I
pedo
forgot what the
one.
fucking original. I remember that one. The original is like fucking. Fuck, I don't remember if
It was about
it was
fighting
based on
games,
a video
wasn't
game.
it?
First off, and secondly, I think it was about. Was it about JRPGs?
It was
Fucking.
making fun of fucking fighting games, I think, or something. I don't know.
It was about JRPGs and lollies or some shit like
Well,
that.
there's eventually an edit that I saw years and years later of this where the angry guy is attacking pedophiles, and the nice, normal, calm-headed guy is like, but raping children is very nice, actually." And it was just like, again, making fun of the entire fucking format of
I think I
this.
remember one of those. I remember one of those was just the guy is just. It's like 1,000 yard stare when the guy mentions body hair, and
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
like, oh
With
yeah.
the body hair floating around his head, where like with this one where it's bishies just floating around his head while he's very
I
stunned.
think I have the original.
Yeah, I have
It's
no
not
idea if I
about. I
do.
don't think it's about lollies. I
No,
don't fucking remember though.
no, it's not. But this one, the guy freaks out after bishies. He's like, "You bash JRPGs, you fucking X-bot," and he says, "Why shouldn't you tell me why I should buy another JRPG?" And then just staring and goes, "Halo sucks." It's like, "You didn't answer my question. Tell me what's good about JRPGs, not why Halo is bad." And then, "You fucking fanboys, blah blah blah." They should call this place Halo instead of the Sage Drama Rage. Look at me, I'm Bill Gates. I'm so full of monies. Um, Anyways, here's the next one: is I hate to be drawn video games comics with a passion. One side is always the smug
I
bastard,
think
the
also
other's
though that one
unreasonable.
that fucking meme template in particular is also basically like a summation of what it's like to read V.
Yeah, this is basic. Yeah, if one guy's always going to be screaming, there is always some guy who's angrily screaming, while some other guy. Usually, the
One
other
guy,
guy is like some kind of a smug,
it's
pretentious
the one guy in
fake.
the comic essentially representing multiple fucking posters, and then
Yes,
the other guy representing maybe another couple of
the
posters.
positive straw man version of the self, in a way.
Yeah,
Because the straw man
positive
goes
strong.
both ways, where it portrays the bad guy as stupid, but more importantly, it portrays the author as level headed and normal and being attacked, the poor person being attacked. Here's the one we looked at last time with the fucking giant steaming head and angry, and the other guy's just screwball. Am I right? Which is like fuck. That's right. We thought of that because that's what a lot of even right wing comics essentially were. The people trying to be stone toss but just couldn't quite make it was just like, look at this crazy guy. Am I right? That's what the pumpkin face guy was. And
Can you
again, I don't
believe
want to
it? That was
bash him
one
too
of the
much, but
we
that's
actually
really
made
what a
fun
lot
of
of his comics were.
when we were making fun of the grift right. It was like, can you believe this? And it's like, yes, I can believe
Yeah, I
it.
can believe it.
Now
What are you
what?
going to do about it?
Forget about can
Yeah,
I believe this?
motherfucker.
I can believe it. So now what are you going to do about it? Oh, you won't do anything.
Yes. Anyways, here's the other one. Hi, I represent the cartoonist. I'm smart. I oppose the cartoonist. Believe with my entire being I'm neurotic and illogical. And then it ends with I am silly to the opposing guy screaming I am silly and I have obviously won. That was one from the last time. That's good. And then the shorter version where it's just like 3 panels and the guy's yelling "I'm irrational" at the end. And then my personal favorite, the one with "Rarg, people don't. Nobody has the right to murder millions." And then Hitler is like, "I just want to murder all the Jews and take over the world." But hey, that's your opinion. Looks like you got some growing up to do. Um, Here's more, which I fucking don't zoom in enough on some of these. Guy who represents my viewpoint and just normal person sitting there, and then guy who represents the opposing viewpoint, fat, smelly nerd, neck beard, sweaty, stains, all that shit.
It actually also reminds me, I think it was like a meme from TV, but it was like leftist. It was the leftist get laid meme or a have sex. But
Have sex
it was
virgin
about
touch grass.
trannies. It was about trannies or something. And like slowly over the course of the comic, the fucking guy defending trannies becomes blonde, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Ubermensch.
It would become the giant muscular fucking Chaddington Thundercock, whatever. Here's yet another one. Guy who represents my viewpoint, me and my viewpoint. Guy who I disagree with, and just like list of things. Totally calm and cool. Looks like a normal guy. Reasonable and level-headed. Has a life, friends. Gets laid. Never gets upset or rational. Lives such a rich, full life that he barely even cares about this nerdy topic. Certainly not enough to make a comic of it. And then opposing guy is rapidly angry, ugly, fat, therefore wrong, virgin, no friends. Wait, that's cool though. Becomes irrational when discussing subject matter, or that his entire life revolves around probably fucking furry or someone who even knows something who even knows also jerks off to dead little boys. Oh no,
Oh wow, this guy is just a real jerk.
just
Just a
sounds
real
like a very
monster.
bad person. Um, Here is this one's a green text, and I consider this kind of a comic in a way. I
Well,
know it's technically
story
it's
time.
not, but in a way, this is basically what a comic is like. It's a fucking it's ideas communicated, and then there is an image. But this is like the most borderline not a comic. So yeah, I don't consider this a comic. It's a post. It's a fucking green text post, but it's just source. Do you have a source on that source? A source. I need a source. Sorry, I mean I need a source that explicitly states your argument. This is just tangential to the discussion. No, you can't make inferences and observations from the sources you've gathered. Any additional comments from you must be a subset of the information at the sources. Do you
This
have a
is very
degree in
typical
that field,
how
a college degree in that field? Then your arguments are invalid. No, it doesn't matter how close the data points are correlated. Correlation does not equal causation. You still haven't provided me a valid source yet. Nope, still haven't. And then I heart science and angry screaming soy face. And the thing is, yeah, I was just looking at this because in a way it's related to the whole opposing viewpoint idea. And this could be
particular how the
easily
left
turned into a
argues.
comic too.
It's also similar to what you posted. The fucking scientist who's like, if it's not in a peer-reviewed paper, they don't accept it ever.
Yeah, he was a scientist who was basically criticizing people who just demand a source for everything you say, which is why now it's becoming a meme to just say, in response to what's the source on that, it's becoming the meme to be like the Chad God replies with the source is me or I made it up or whatever. Because at that point the people who are asking for a source are just trying to act like you have no base. And I've seen this a lot, especially from people, not just the SJWs and the I fucking heart science people, but also from like the grift right, and a lot of right-wing types will do this as well, including, of course, not to bring them up even more than they deserve, but Comicsgate constantly being like, what's your source on that? And this is like, the source is them. Go look at them, their behavior. That's the source. It's like
It's like,
when
yeah,
you
the
point
source
out
of
Liam Gray
what
is a fucking raving psychopath, they're like, oh really? What's your proof of that? And it's like, they are the proof. Ethan Van
here's their
Stiver
fucking
is the
Twitter
proof of
account. They
his
said it on
behavior.
their own Twitter account. It's like, I didn't see it. Then they deleted it. But here's
Like,
a
yeah, they'll
screenshot
do a
where it's got
tweet
a
or a
fucking,
fucking
it's
video
got
where
a
they'll
fucking double backflipped verified fucking archive.io link. I
yeah,
don't give a shit.
yeah,
Go
fuck,
ahead then, give them all your money.
yeah,
Give them
go
all your
ahead.
money until you have no money left and are fucking homeless and
Yeah,
starving.
empty your
Because
bank
that's how much
account
you
into their
trust them.
fucking Indiegogo scam. Feel free, please, by all means. I do not care if you don't believe me. It's of very little importance if you believe me. What's of
It's
major fucking importance
it's
is
the
that I
fad.
believe
I
you.
hope you fall for this.
Yes. That's the
The
thing, yeah.
the
When
Chad,
we would point out just to we wouldn't even say it to other people. We would just be like, yeah, this person had a giant meltdown. It's like, oh, really? Would you prove that? And it's like, they're the proof that they posted it.
here's their fucking
I'm
channel.
not accusing anyone of anything. They did it. The end of story. End of story. Period.
It's like being like, oh, what's your proof that Biden pulled out of Afghanistan and left all of our fucking thing?
Yeah, exactly.
It's international news at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, and even if it's like, oh, you believe the news? Moom actually does that pretty often too. It's like, what are you paying attention to? And it's like, it was on CNN actually. The fuck,
It's on MS.
that's where.
I'm pretty sure MSNBC reported it. Your favorite fucking
Yeah,
shitty
you
ass
you
news
watched it
channel
and you
for
have
words.
memory hold it in your own fucking elderly boomer mind. We actually
Fucking
do talk to our
boomer.
own mom that way because it's
Yes, that's
funny.
how much. That's how much integrity we have.
That's what Chad Thundercocks we are. We're
The
we're
Thad
such
integrity,
kings.
the Thad integrity, arguing with your own mom because she's a fucking demented
Because
boomer.
she's a boomer. Just calling her a boomer, that's the height of argument. Which is true. But anyways, here's I zoomed in too much here. Here's another one of just like pink hair guy wearing lipstick, trying to look smug with eyebrow raised. Sweetie, I just spent 3 hours combing through your Reddit comments from the past 2 years, and oof, that's a yikes from me. I literally can't even right now. Oh, sweet summer child, blah, blah, blah. It just ends at the bottom with, let that sink in, which is funny.
If you're outside and you're cold, your sink is cold.
Let that sink in. But the let them let them in and warm them up. That animal out there is cold. Let it in and warm it up with a fucking picture of meat. Anyways, that one was like an ironic one. To make fun of the type of people, the redditor who talks like that. Here's another one that's like pink mohawk, giant fat, gritting teeth, fucking psycho looking person. And again, this is a complete straw man argument, but at the same time, it's
I
also
believe it.
true.
It's bullshit, but I believe it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just a fucking crazy looking person, and it's I'm going to need some academic sources behind that joke you just casually made, which we have fucking constantly. People have said to
Yeah,
us. All of these are things people have also said to us, which is why I put them in this list of
we
pictures.
predate the creation of a lot of these.
Yes. Here's another one that's I don't even know what order this is supposed to be read in, but it's like fucking. I think at the bottom, upper plane of astral autism, I deliberately entered a thread full of things I do not like, and now I am mad. How could this be happening to me? Fucking fat, sweaty guy sort of grabbing his own face, or face palming maybe. And then fucking on the other side of him, a complete mirror flip. Someone entered my thread to disagree with what I post. Now I'm mad. How could this be happening to me? They're both shooting colorful beams at each other, and it says autism beam noises. And then above that is a
Well, that's
mirror of both of them combined. People are arguing about a topic I don't care for. Now I'm mad. How could this be happening to me? And then above that just says beyond, and it's like quadruple mirrored fucking faces, and just says people are talking.
it's the typical. It's the reason why normies have ruined the internet.
Yes,
Because
fuck you,
normally on the
normies.
internet, people would fucking have discussions or
Normies and
arguments,
they're
and it would just be
talking.
kind of left to that. And nowadays, it's like, okay, this is like a federal crime, and we're going to have an entire, every single social
You should
media,
be
every.
arrested for your opinion.
Imagine if in 1998 every single IRC or forum was like fucking spied on by the FBI so that they could fucking manage who was being allowed to
It would
talk
be all
about
FBI
things.
agents arresting each other again. Um,
That's what the internet's like now.
yeah, they're all feds, especially the ones who aren't even feds, which is
Especially
even worse.
the ones who don't glow in the dark
They,
are extra
they're
feds.
yes, they're fucking. That's how you could tell they're the worst of the feds. Anyways, here's Karl the Cuck drawing, and it just says, "Are you seriously asking me to explain my reasoning?" In a way, this is what like funny, intentionally straw. Like this knows it's a straw man, but at the same time, it's also accurate. We're just taking a sort of a parody of something that people actually say and ways that they behave, and just making like a very simple, rudimentary MS Paint drawing of them, and then adding to the side some text in just like all caps, fucking Arial or something, or Verdana maybe. Um, and that became like its own brand of this meme. Was just like an MS Paint doodle with text of them saying something stupid or being just them being a stupid dummy head. Um, but also this one, it's funny because hold on, where's the other one that was just like this? Oh, yeah, here it is. Karl the Cuck though. Karl 3.1. Are you kidding me? Microsoft Windows 95 text box. Are you kidding me? Yes or no? No is being clicked on, and under it in like the system font, it just says "not kidding." Um, let's see. Here's another one. Wage slave logic. No self-respecting man should ever have to work 40 hours a week. And then stupid asshole is like, shut up, leech. Life has no meaning. So it's like the cool, nice Chad guy on the left is like, you should never work. And then the working wagey slave is like, life has no meaning unless you contribute to society, you waste of space. Clearly, this is the wrong person, and they're just getting more and more of a wrong person. And yeah, here, wait, by the end, they're suddenly blonde haired, blue eyed, master race, while the other guy is literally a bunch of squiggles with crying tears and yellow cracked teeth all over, going in all sorts of directions. La la la, you're wrong, I'm right. You're a fucking virgin loser. Enjoy living in your mom's basement. And their font is the fucking, it's Comic Sans. Whereas
Even worse,
this guy's
they are
font is a fucking nice, wholesome font like
they are
Arial
the
or
censor.
Verdana again.
Oh man.
Go on and brag about your Mercedes Benz or your vacation in Cancun. Keep giving money to the Jews. A free man is free from these Jewish desires, and yet a righteous character defends the truth and loves the good. There's no reason to have a job in 2013. That's how old this is. 2013, and the other guy, the opposing viewpoint guy, is just screaming, "La la la, you're wrong, I'm right," as he is turned into squiggles. Um, here's another one of just a giant frown angry guy and says, "Wow, you disagree with me? Go get educated." Here's another one with smug guy typing a keyboard and it says, "Ha ha 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 ha. What a fucking idiot. I'm going to reply to him to let him know how not baited I am." Um,
That's one we've definitely seen. Man, we've seen that one a lot.
Here's just a picture of a girl wearing a headset, an Asian girl wearing a headset, and it's just fucking the very old classic image macro thing, but it says OP is a uneducated Filipino prostitute. And that's it. That's the whole fucking thing. Again, in a way, this is a comic. It's an image and it's text and it's getting a point across.
You can
But in a
fucking
very weird, kind of rudimentary and sort of mutated way of a comic in a way. It's very technically not a comic, but at the same time, it kind of is.
it's better than a lot of the things that certain other comic makers are
Yes.
making.
Because again, it gets a point across concisely, right to the fucking point. And the point is, OP is a uneducated Filipino prostitute.
It makes more sense than Jawbreakers.
Yes. Here's another one. This one's interesting because, again, in a way, this is like a comic. It's more like just straight up an image macro. But I mean, I can consider a an image of just text to almost be like a comic because, again, it's something that's a picture file to get a point across. Now, it's more like just text. It's more like you're just reading. But at the same time, if there's an element of lettering and font differences, like there is, this one's Shill Tactics Recognition Guide from Paul, politically incorrect. Truth suppression technique, wax indignant. Strategy employed, imply that. And again, the first one is Shill Tactics Recognition Guide, kind of a strong monotype, I guess, kind of font. And then the next one is smaller text that's like a more regular Arial font, and then in all caps and red, wax indignant. And then Times New Roman, strategy employed, imply that engaging in the current discussion constitutes a sort of blasphemy on attack on a sacred cow. And then, as an example, in green text and large all caps, how dare you say that? Who do you think you are? Refer to the Gentleman's Guide to Forum Spies, Spooks, Feds, etc. 17 Tactics for Truth Suppression. So this almost looks like it's more like a pamphlet. In a way, a pamphlet is almost like a comic. That's why Jack T. Chick was not only effective and memorable, but in a way, he basically turned what was originally just some pamphlets with text into a comic that had a story you would read. And in a way, the pamphlet was a comic that just didn't employ a lot of visuals that attached directly to the text. And so it wasn't really like pamphlets aren't really a comic. This isn't really a comic, but there's elements of how you make a comic, and there's things you can learn about how to structure comic lettering and text in a way, and visual design. This is more like a visual design thing than specifically comic. But at the same time, there is, it's like a cousin in a way of comics, or like a, sort of, there's a relation there at least. Let's see, the next one. This one, straight up a comic, where it's fucking some guy at his monitor, "Dear God, someone's beating me in an internet argument," and then green text, "You're obviously retarded," implying you know what you're talking about. Nope, stifu, gitfo, laugh. It's just damage control. And then the next one's just more damage control. Lol, trolled her, the something you think this is what you actually believe. for something JPEG and a bunch of other shit, and just they're looking more and more worried as it goes maximum damage control, which again, uh, this is a straw man comic, but also most likely it's representing something that it either has happened, what the creator thinks has
I'm sure.
happened, which is
I
most
think
likely extremely accurate and true, or
kind of makes it
something.
not straw man then.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just
that's the
a
thing. A
man.
straw man can still be accurate. It just usually isn't. And it depends on how accurate the behavior being portrayed in the comic is. Like, in Short Pact, the straw man comics that he made were obviously horseshit. This, on the other hand, is obviously based off of real behavior of somebody desperately trying to fucking do damage control from losing an argument or just being disagreed with in a way. So this is, in a way, probably misrepresenting something, but at the same time, it is getting a point across of because usually people like this wouldn't even be countered. Like you would watch somebody going into these spurg fits of you're obviously retarded, implying blah blah green text on all that shit. People would just do that and be like, you know that you're looking desperate, right? And but the thing is, most people wouldn't know that. But you make a comic about it, about how obvious they're trying to do damage control for losing an argument, and people start getting the idea. They start getting the realization, or at least the ideas being communicated that people when they're doing this are fucking trying to cover for something, and that probably stopped a lot of that behavior because then you could just throw this comic at them in reply and it's immediately a forum weapon. And that's really what comics kind of do the best, especially comics like this. Not comic books. Comic books will never be good at that. But these little comics like this, MS Paint kind of level stuff, that's very simple, but again, it's very effective. More effective and more relevant than American comic books ever will be.
There are people out there who think that American comics are the only
But
comics.
in a way, these are American comics. But the thing is, this could be by a guy in Malaysia or something, or in fucking Belgium or something like that.
We've been told personally, it's like if you don't like cape shit, then you don't. They obviously don't call it that, but they're basically saying if you don't like cape shit, you don't like any comics at all. And it's like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's only
Who would
something
ever
that
say
somebody who
something
doesn't
like
really
that?
like comics would say. By
Oh,
the way, obviously,
but it's like it just who would even say something like that? Only the dumbest morons.
yes.
That's the thing is you'll come across a lot of stupid people on the internet, but some of the stupidest people ever are all comic book fans. Like there's
Yeah.
video games and fucking Star Wars and
Specifically
Star Trek and
fans.
whatever science fiction, and those people you can go back and forth with a
Most
lot of them.
people lose the fucking plot on this too. They're like, "What do you mean comic book fans? How can you say that about people who read? You guys are that kind of shit." Not realizing that a fan of something is different from somebody who just likes or appreciates or follows or reads or engages or something. A fan is. I know fan has become a shorthand for somebody who just likes something, but there needs to be a distinction because a fan of something is inherently a mentally ill person, and a fan is always wrong. All fans are always wrong. Fans are the worst, basically.
Fandom. That's the thing is if anybody knows anything about fandoms, it just kind of spells itself out. It's like, oh yeah, fandoms, they're all cancer.
Yes, and they should get it too. But anyways,
Hopefully,
here's
seems a
fucking
lot.
David Lynch saying, "Believe it or not, effort posters are total fucking bullshit." Elaborate on that. No, which is
It's an interviewer asking him to elaborate on effort
on effort
posting.
posters being total fucking bullshit, which is actually a combination of different David Lynch quotes about different things, of course, but just, and it's also effort posters is pasted over something else.
Because he probably never said anything about effort posting.
No, no, of course not. Well, no, but that's the thing. Yeah, effort posters is clearly, it's like blacked out whatever the original was. Um, but the original was also not a real quote either. Thing is, also this is essentially a form of comic.
Yeah,
This
the
one
original
more than
quote was
ever.
fucking what was it? Eraserhead is the most spiritual.
Yeah, that was the
Well,
original quote. And if you've seen the Red Letter Media, their most recent video about the David Lynch trivia challenge, which was a great video. That one,
Great video.
yeah, that one shows that quote of David Lynch saying, "Believe it or not, Eraserhead is my most spiritual film," and the interviewer says, "Elaborate on that," and David Lynch just says, "No," which is great. Of course, it's another reason to love David
Makes me
Lynch.
kind of jealous of him.
Hmm.
I wish I could
Yes.
say that to people.
Well, we do, of course, but not on the not on TV and that kind of shit. But still, if we did, in fact, not only did we, but somebody reminded me of that time because it was brought up. Fucking Liam Gray claimed that Mike S. Miller was on with us at some time, making fun of him. And we were like, I was confused listening to it, and Mike S. Miller was confused because it had never happened, and Liam Gray was clearly hallucinating, just completely out of his mind. His mind had been torn in two many times by us specifically, but especially that was him displaying his hallucinations and how he had a complete fucking loss of his grip on objective reality and events in life, including his own life. Like he was telling people things, he was telling people that he had seen them do things that had never happened, and in fact, all the evidence showed it never happened. So, somebody brought up though is like you were on the same stream with Mike S. Miller one time, very briefly. It's like, yeah, that there's that, but it's clear that Liam Gray was not talking about that because he was claiming that we were making fun of Liam Gray, and that Mike S. Miller was in any way involved. When in reality, what happened is Doug TenNapel invited us on a stream. We came on. Mike S. Miller and Mecca McCheese were already in the stream, and they immediately both went quiet. And Mike S. Miller left after a few minutes of silence. And then Mecca McCheese was also in silence, but he tried saying something, and you just said, no. And I was like, nah, yeah, no. And fucking just shut him down, and he shut up for the entire rest of the stream. And then
Treated him
Nurkish
like
came in, and we all talked together.
I treated him like he deserved to be treated,
Yeah,
which is
exactly. So
basically
yes,
a
we do
non-entity.
exactly this. We do. Well, there's no reason for us to be jealous of David Lynch because we are exactly like him in so many ways, especially in that we're geniuses, of course. But that's not my opinion. It's just observable fact. But also in the way that in that kind of behavior, we do that. Here's one of just a cute girl with hand to chin, and she's thinking of the thinking emoji, the classic white nationalist fucking
White
dog,
supremacist
yeah, white
dog
supremacist
whistle.
dog whistle, the thinking emoji. Here's another one.
Uh,
It's I think it's the Adam ruins everything guy looking, with his glasses and looking smug, and it
yeah.
says debunked, and then a stamp that says myth, and then under that says fact check and a check mark. And again, this is like so many levels of irony being employed in this delightfully to make fun of the people who are like, ooh, where's your source? I think I've debunked it, kind of shit. Which is also sad because if you do debunk something, then it's like
Yeah.
you're not being like this. If you've actually debunked something, or if somebody makes a false claim and you fucking have shown them up and fucking anything like that. And so this can be misused very easily. It's very unfortunate. But at the same time, it's making fun of that kind of like it's basically the anti-Trump kind of thing. It's like the smug leftist who is like, "Ooh, I've debunked your myths." Acting like they're all about the science and shit. Meanwhile, they're just as unscientific. And it's turned into that meme of like science believers are just as religious people, which isn't true, but it is true about these kinds of people. But
The
they're not
unfortunate
worshiping the
fucking element.
science. They're
I was actually thinking about this, just the athy tits, just back in like 2015, just the skeptic community.
yeah.
I mean, that was
They
like
did
a
the most
big
damage to
problem.
themselves. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
they're gone now.
Yeah.
That fucking shit is gone because they've so saturated the entire world sphere with the idea that they're fucking fat neckbeards with fedoras.
But also
because
at the
so many
same
of them
time, a
are.
lot of them got caught in all sorts of ridiculous corruption. Like there was the whole the Candid social media site that a lot of them took a payoff to shill, and then fucking got caught like lying about. And Candid was censoring people and looking to target hate speech. And all these rational skeptics that were supposed to be anti SJW still ended up shilling for SJW shit because they just got paid for it. So again, the naked corruption on that part, and but only because people pointed out and noticed. There's a lot more of that happens among people that nobody ever points out. It just goes silently fucking accepted, and a lot of people. It's like if you saw people going full hard simp for Sargon of Akkad and refuse to accept that he's in any way embarrassing or anything. That's how people do react right now to other YouTube e-celebs. Some of the biggest ones, in fact. And but by biggest ones, I mean they still don't have 1 million subscribers. So I'm not talking about someone like Pyrocynical, because Pyrocynical first is actually funny. Second, his viewers are pretty funny. I'm talking about like the political YouTubers who are they act like they're funny, but they're actually completely humorless and dull and that kind of shit. But we've gone into that over and over again. Here's another one though. The Colin Powell. Did you really expect me to read all that shit by you?
In word.
Yes. Here's another one with a giant IQ bell curve. The IQ bell curve meme, where at the bottom it's the at the lowest it's I believe what I see, guy with missing tooth and fucking bib overalls, and then at the top of the bell curve is like the midwit. Do you have a source for that? And then at the end of the bell curve, the highest IQs. I distrust modern academia because I know how it works. Several journals have a replicability crisis. In any case, empirical truths are as valid as conceptual truths. And for anyone who wants to, anyone who's like wondering the specifics of some of that, empirical truths refers to something that you can physically display and measure and replicate. Like if you pour water into a glass, you're displaying that the glass is full of water. If you pour the glass out, you're showing that gravity works. Maybe not how gravity works, but that specifically it does work. Or if you were in space and emptying a glass of water and it floats, you're empirically showing that you're in a zero gravity environment. That kind of thing. That's a very simple way of describing empirical science, but it's something that you can display visibly or measurably in some way. Conceptual truths are ideas and abstractions that you can't measure but are still true, like how comic book fans are low IQ faggots. You can't take a glass of faggotry and pour comic book fans having a low IQ into it, but it's
You
still
can't pour,
factually accurate anyway.
you can't pour their IQ. You cannot take an IQ and then pour it into their minds and make them no longer fans of comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't. It's a
It's abstract,
conceptual
it's
idea.
conceptual. But anyways, yeah. So that's just a little explanation of kind of what that means for anyone who wasn't exactly following along. Perhaps I don't know. But again, this it's a meme, but it's also a form of comic because it's a series of images and then text, and it's getting a point across. And this is how most people read comics these days. The vast majority of people read comics this way, not in a comic book, because comic books really aren't relevant and cannot get a point across as well as something like this can. Just this one image, even. And this one also, one of my favorites. Here's the we're about done. This is the last couple here. Is the argumentative pyramid, where at the bottom is name calling. Sounds something like you are an asshat. It's the virgin fucking argumentative pyramid though, which will have an extra fucking aspect to it. But name calling then ad hominem attacks the characteristics of the writer without addressing the argument. Responding to tone criticizes the tone of the writer without addressing the argument. Contradiction states the opposing case with little or no supporting evidence. and then counter argument contradicts and then backs it up with reasoning and or supportive evidence, getting to the top of the pyramid. Then refutation finds the mistake and explains why it's mistaken using quotes or other things. Here's the thing, there's not a lot of space to get into any more nuance there, but just using quotes or using something. Counter argument, refutation, and refuting the central point are things that we have all done multiple times to pretty much everyone we've ever argued with. The top is refuting the central point explicitly refutes the central point. But that's the virgin versus the Chad upside down argumentative pyramid where fucking the bottom is the most narrow area and it's ignoring the argument completely, such as okay, cool, and refuting the meta point. Why do you want unprincipled exceptions? And then ad patronum. Did George Soros pay you to say that? Appeal to Aesop. Scorpions never change their nature. Bro psychology. You complain a lot. Daddy issues. The Chad homonym. Interesting thesis. R1M bench. And then at the very top, or the in a way the bottom of the inverted Chad argumentative pyramid is physiognomy. Actually, you should judge a book by its cover and a person by their physique. All of these are things we have done also. In fact, I think we've done the tops and the bottoms of both pyramids at various times. But especially the ones that are the coolest. That's definitely us. And then here's the original argumentative pyramid with name calling ad hominem responding to tone, and then that's sort of like singled out, and it says SJWs, and then contradiction states the opposing case with little or no supporting evidence, and then all of that and below is Comicsgate. And then everything and above is SWC, or us, including counter-argument, refutation, and then the very top, which is Laylee looking smug with big tits. So hey, check that out. Good job. Like, unshare, recomment. Don't subscribe.
We don't need to change this pattern. This pattern is perfect.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, the most important part of this pattern is this episode, as usual, brought to you by our Subscribe Star backers. Check the link below to our Subscribe Star to help support and or get access to secret videos that we can't link to people because they're too spicy, they're too insightful, they make people way too angry. To where we've gotten SJWs and the grift right, like Comicsgate and Fandom Menace and like Nick Rekieta fans and stuff, to false flag our channel because they got so mad at how we fucking essentially blew their assholes out, either of them, the fandoms, or their favorite e-celebs. It's happened so many times with, all of the tactics on display here. But, yeah, so give us money on your Subscribe Star. And, all sorts of extra videos behind the big paywall. And should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.